it was always bound to end up this way, right? I mean, billionaires are by definition selfish people, right? You cannot be like, there's no, I'm going to be a billionaire that just does all the right things. It's like, if you did all the right things, you would have never sniffed $1 billion. You would have never come close. You would have made, oh, I'm a genius. I just got paid $8 million. I'm going to retire now. That's what you would do if you were a good person. I'm going to spend my time volunteering for charity at the soup kitchen, right? Like, okay, that's what you would do if you were actually an altruist person. Instead, you like to manipulate people, buy them a horse here and there, manipulate people like marionettes to fit your agenda, to do PR for your company that you just bought and is now bleeding, hemorrhaging money. Who better to do that than the guy who famously used to rally against that thing, that used to excoriate venture capital and the purveyors of the corruption against the little guy, right? He was a big Main Street guy. He was a big working guy, salt of the earth guy. I remember we were talking to a friend of the show off air, and I was like, I still remember the first time I read Bush Like Me. My journalism professor in college had me read it, and I'd never checked it out before. But the way that Matt Taibbi was both able to relate to the Bush voter and still understand that they were being scammed, that's completely lost nowadays. Pretty crazy to watch. Obviously, Mehdi Hassan did a great takedown of him. But now it was all for nothing. Even his absolute inability to say one negative thing after just hearing a litany of things that any rational person would say, yeah, all of those things are fucked. I completely disagree with him on all those things. He's like, you know what? When it comes to Modi and what's going on in India and Twitter, the very thing I asked to come on this show and debate, I'd really have to give Daddy a call before I'm allowed to state my opinion. Don't want to cross him too bad. Well, it doesn't matter, Matt. It didn't matter at all.
Yeah, so just in case any of you guys need a refresher, I wanted to replay this clip from the Mehdi Hassan interview, just so we can all kind of bask in the lengths to which Matt Taibbi went to humiliate himself in order to try to appease Elon Musk. Let's take a look here before we get into what happened basically right after this interview dropped.
Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to. Look, I didn't criticize him really before, and I think that what the Twitter files are is a step in the right direction.
But it's the same Twitter that he's running right now.
I disagree with him. If you want to ask, I think.
Understood, Matt. Well, I'll ask you a specific one.
No.
It's not in bad faith, Matt. Sorry. You say that Twitter. Hold on. Let me finish my question. You're saying that he's good for Twitter and good for speech. I'm saying he's using Twitter to help one of the most right-wing governments in the world censor speech. I will criticize that. Will you?
I have to look at the story first. I'm not looking at it now.
Hold on. I posted the story 2 weeks ago. You tweeted at me,
I don't watch the Mehdi Hassan show.
You do, actually you do, because you tweeted at me saying, invite me on the show and I'll tell you my views. Here you are. What is your view? There it is. There it is. Look. Yeah, and you said, look, we'll read your words. Why don't you invite me on your show to talk about it, since you're so absolutely sure of what I'll say? You're right, I'm not sure. What is your view on Musk working with Modi to censor speech?
That's what you ask him about the particulars about it. But listen, this came up the first time. I think it was Twitter Files number 6 when you said after this was a big one that we had done about the relationship between Twitter, the FBI, and the DHS. And as that story came out, you were giving me a hard time about tweeting through it, I think was the quote. Essentially, You said, you're arguing that this information was not in the public interest, that I somehow shouldn't have done this story that I'd worked hard on because Elon Musk tweeted something? You don't think that story was in the
banned journalists? I think hold on, Matt. If you're doing a story about free speech on Twitter and the head of Twitter bans journalists, yeah, I think most people. By the way, Barry Weiss, your partner in crime on that, your colleague, your reporter, sorry for that euphemism, your reporting colleague, she actually did call him out. So it's weird that Barry Weiss had more integrity on that, some might argue, your critics might say, than you did.
Yeah, that's so funny right there, where he's like realizes that Matt's gonna try and like one up him for saying partner and cry. What do you mean my partner? Because he doesn't want to give him a chance to obfuscate again. He's like, excuse me for using that euphemism, your colleague in journalism. I'm like, oh man, this guy had him from fucking end to end. And yeah, obviously we don't always agree with anybody. We don't always agree with Mehdi Hassan, but fuck, man. That was an excoriation. That was a takedown. And honestly, I'm a little surprised that Matt didn't perform a little better, given the fact that he literally asked to come on the show. He literally came on the show after he'd said, "Why don't you invite me?" in response to that Modi censoring journalists in India in collaboration with Twitter, while you are the number one supposed investigator of Twitter free speech beats. Pretty crazy. Oh, I didn't have that story. Oh, sorry, I was just too busy doing PR for like the third richest man in America. Yeah, that's not the winner of an excuse you think it is. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Like Jeff Bezos was just paying me to write all this stuff about how, like, you know, they're actually fighting climate change. I mean, I don't have anything to say about the massive workplace corruption. Like, what? That's not my story. My story is that they just donated $1 million to charity. You would never see that level of pitiful analysis from Matt Taibbi, but that's essentially what's happening here, right? It's like, oh, I'm just ignoring all of the bad things that they're doing because so I can report on the bad things some other guys did for one of the richest men in the world. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it really is difficult to believe at times.
Right. And it's pretty funny because, like, pretty consistently, the major criticism being lobbed at Matt Taibbi over his work on the Twitter files isn't even, in my opinion, necessarily that he decided to report on the information that was in the Twitter files. It's more about how he's acted in relation to Elon Musk. When asked about Elon Musk, when asked if he's, you know, has any criticisms of Elon Musk, when he's asked about the direction that Twitter has been taken under Elon Musk's direction, there's this just bizarre inability to criticize him. This really just shocking. And again, I don't think it would have been like a credibility destroying event necessarily for Matt Taibbi to participate in the Twitter files if he had done what Barry Weiss did and criticize Elon Musk too when the time came. Obviously, Elon Musk started banning journalists from Twitter like a week or so after taking over the platform, a week or so after like commissioning the Twitter files. He started banning journalists, the Elon Jet Tracker account, among a handful of others for no real reason, not really adhering to the terms of service in a principled or consistent way whatsoever. Matt Taibbi decided to completely stay silent because he saw what happened to Barry Weiss when she dared to speak out and criticize Elon. Barry Weiss said, hey, you know, although I was happy to report on the information within the Twitter files, and although I stand by the fact that this is a total expose of the previous regime at Twitter, unfortunately, it looks like Elon Musk is taking the company in the exact same censorious direction. And I'm going to call that out too. Now, Barry Weiss is obviously someone I have basically no respect for, but I was shocked to see her display more journalistic integrity in that instance than Matt Taibbi, who, you know, kept saying, oh, this is just about the information. This is just about my principled opposition to a culture of censorship. But I'm going to stay totally silent about Elon Musk, who's currently acting in an incredibly authoritarian and censorious way, taking this platform in a very, very dangerous direction for free speech and for journalism, which is also pretty ironic given the fact that Matt Taibbi has in the past underplayed and undermined the concerns of other journalists who were raising the red flags and trying to, sound the alarms about what Elon Musk taking over Twitter could do for the platform. Again, as it relates to the way journalists specifically use the platform, Matt Taibbi not only decided to stay silent, but when asked about Elon Musk, consistently defended him, consistently defended, why exactly he was asking these journalists to do the Twitter files. He was defending his intentions, et cetera, over and over and over again, completely dragging his reputation and credibility through the mud in the process. Let's not forget, despite the way Matt Taibbi talks about Elon Musk as a whistleblower and all that stuff, this is a fucking oligarch we're talking about. Elon Musk is an oligarch. He's the world's richest or second richest man, depending on the,
I think he's like top 5, but yeah.
I've heard top 2 either way. At one point, I think he was the richest. Either way, the dude is an oligarch through and through. We're not talking about fucking Julian Assange here. We're not talking about Edward Snowden or Chelsea Manning. Again, to call him a whistleblower is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And the fact that Matt Taibbi consistently has defended and refused to criticize this fucking oligarch, like I said, notorious liar, a complete piece of shit, an Epstein associate, I'll remind you. Not that that's particularly relevant to the specific details of the Twitter files, but it's still true. You know, Matt Taibbi has totally and completely humiliated himself, in my opinion, and damn near ruined his credibility in the process by refusing to criticize Elon Musk. And just after this interview dropped, lots of people were, of course, roasting Matt Taibbi once again for his inability to criticize Elon Musk, ourselves included. And that's when we saw this news drop. We were actually live the other day when someone informed us in chat of what exactly was going down on Twitter. But literally mere hours after Matt Taibbi humiliated himself again in the process of randomly deciding to defend Elon Musk for helping to censor the critics of a far right-wing government in India, mere hours after that, Matt Taibbi went to Twitter to post this. Of all things, I learned today that Substack links were being blocked on this platform. When I asked why, I was told it was a dispute over the new Substack Notes platform. Since sharing links to my articles is the primary reason I come to this platform, I was alarmed and asked what was going on. I was given the option of posting articles on Twitter instead. Obviously, I'm staying at Substack and will be moving to Substack Notes next week. So, again, for Elon Musk, who has consistently used Matt Taibbi as a shield from criticism, and who has consistently kind of made Matt Taibbi do this dance for him in public, where he refuses to criticize him and has to keep quiet on certain things because he knows what'll happen if he doesn't. Again, he saw what happened to Barry Weiss. After all of that loyalty from Matt Taibbi, and what I would call an epic Trump-style betrayal, Elon Musk just totally fucking throws him under the bus and says, hey, you know what? Because of the fact that we're trying to make Twitter a new version of Substack, or we're trying to make Twitter more like Substack, we want journalists like you to post in long form on this platform. Because of that, we're actually going to block you from posting your work on our website, the website that I've made you use in order to post about your reporting as it about the Twitter files reporting on. And again, this is just absolute freaking insanity, given just the lengths Matt Taibbi has gone to in order to defend Elon Musk, only to be thrown in the trash as soon as it was convenient for Elon Musk. And as you guys might have seen, Elon Musk unfollowed Matt Taibbi after Matt Taibbi took to Twitter in order to say, I'm basically leaving this platform as a result of them disallowing me from sharing links to my Substack, which of course is his primary medium. After Matt Taibbi took to Twitter to report on this, saying like, hey, what the hell? I can't post on Substack anymore. Of course, like we said, Elon Musk unfollowed him on Twitter after Matt reported on this. Brett Weinstein actually said, Elon Musk, you know that thing where the left eats its own? We mustn't let that happen to the emerging Western values / free speech coalition.
Well, I've never heard quite an artful way for the neo-fascist movement, but they do. You know, they're putting a new veneer on it, I guess.
Right. Many of us who have backed your Twitter play and then taken substantial heat for it are thrown by this move. The public square isn't a monopoly. But Elon responded to this and says Substack links were never blocked. Matt's statement is false. Substack was trying to download a massive portion of the Twitter database to bootstrap their Twitter clone, so their IP address is obviously untrusted. Turns out Matt is / was an employee of Substack. And then he got fact-checked by his own website. Regarding the first claim, Substack links themselves may not have been blocked, but interactions, likes, retweets, and replies with tweets containing Substack's links were definitely blocked. Preventing engagement with tweets will drastically limit their exposure. So basically, yeah, he prevented engagement with some of these tweets, a bunch of Matt Taibbi's tweets and a bunch of tweets in general that were linking to Substack articles. Which is why for a brief period of time, the Twitter files themselves were actually removed. Matt Taibbi on his Substack platform posted this saying that all of his Twitter files had been removed from Twitter because he wouldn't leave Substack. I hear that they've been restored since then, but clearly in a jealous, fit, Elon Musk was like, fuck Matt Taibbi, and just removed all of his shit from Twitter, or at least made it impossible to find. Which again is just insane given the extent to which this guy has gone in order to defend you.
100%. And if we could just back up a little bit to that, Weinstein tweet really quickly, I think it's important for everybody to recognize that right-wingers do not understand even their own ideology. Let's unpack this really slowly, because he says at the end something that is true. Brett Weinstein doesn't hold this value in a sincere way, but I do. The public square isn't a monopoly, okay? Well, hold on there, pal. Then why did you decide to let this guy buy it with you cheerleading him, right? This one single billionaire aristocrat. Why did you think that that was a good idea? Because he had no other intention when he purchased this platform than to expand it and in his brain wipe out all other platforms. That's how these fuckers work. That's the disease they have in Silicon Valley. It is the disease of the monopolist. Okay, it is not enough to have a massively popular website. It is not enough to have the most popular website. It is only enough to crush every single other fucking bug around you. And that's how these guys approach business. And that's why it's a horribly corrupt, nefarious, unregulated, mess over there in Silicon Valley. Look at the rent prices. Look at the fucking all the problems. You want to blame California's problems? Start looking at big tech, okay, guys? Instead of poor people on the street who are desperately taking a piss in public because they don't have anywhere else to go. Those aren't your fucking enemies, okay, guys? It's these guys. So he says the public square isn't a monopoly, and it reminded me a lot of. I always like to. There's a great UFC fighter. He got busted for cheating many times, but I still like him. He owned it when he got busted for cheating. He was like, "Fuck you! This is a career. I'm trying to have all the advantage that I can get. What you call it a drug test, I call it an IQ test. Let's see who beats who." This was his entire philosophy, right? And his name was Chael Sonnen. Great commentator. Our politics are dramatically different, but this guy is a wizard on the mic, right? He got busted for like EPO and all kinds of other stuff, right? But they parade him around out in front of USADA because they're trying to decide how long they're going to ban him from competition for, right? And EPO, that's the kind of shit that Lance Armstrong got busted for, all kinds of shit like that, right? Testosterone, that kind of boosters like that. They were all using it in the UFC at that time, and they bring him out in front of a jury and. They're looking at him and they're like, why did you take this? Like, did you know that it was going to improve your performance? And he's like, I start looking around. I'm like, do you guys think I'm a fucking idiot? Why would I take this if I didn't think that it was going to improve my performance? Do you think that it just got in my Cheerios? This shit is expensive. Like, what the fuck is the matter with you, right? And everybody's looking at him all appalled. They can't understand, like, why would he? Oh, I can't believe this. This guy just said, of course he bought those things because they thought it would help him win. He was like, I was trying to fight Anderson Silva, the most fucking decorated mixed martial artist of all time. You think I wasn't looking for a fucking advantage? Of course I was, right? That's all the fanboys are, the people that are shocked by Chael Sonnen. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this guy just admits to cheating. He was like, bro, I was trying to win fights and secure paydays. Like, this wasn't about honor for me. This was about getting money. Elon Musk is out here telling all these fanboys, all these marks that think that like the UFC is all real and that it's all about honor and valor and like who's the baddest guy on the block, when at the end of the day, Elon is looking at them, laughing and saying, guys, this was all about checks. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I will cheat, I will scam, I will steal, I will do fucking anything because this is a bottom line business. Okay. And I'm about my bullshit. That's a roundabout way of saying it. These guys are all fucking marks. Okay. They're just like little fans in the stand that think that the wrestling game is real, that there's no script. You know what script Elon is following? Make as much money as possible and take out every fucking obstacle in his way. Matt Taibbi is just a fucking, little hiccup along the way, steamroll it, Donald Trump has dealt with this time and time again. It wasn't just Mike Pence. It was every single motherfucker that had ever associated and bent their fucking knee to Donald Trump. Another one that comes to mind, sloppy Steve Bannon, right? That dude I think you could argue that dude would have never become president without Steve Bannon. I don't think he was ever fucking like I hate Steve Bannon. I think he's disgusting. I think he's foul. I think that he is fucking just repulsive in every manifesting way. But he had his pulse on how he could manipulate the like monster truck loving, like, you know, Bush lights wiggling, you know, Americana, right? And that's what happened. And he was still, bam, under the rug. Chris Christie bent over, grabbed his heel, says, "Here, come on, Trump, bring the load over here." And Trump was like, "Get out of here." Ted Cruz, same deal, called his wife ugly, and now he's out here fucking stumping for him when it matters. You know what I mean? Imagine going out there and stumping for a guy that called your wife ugly in front of the national. Jesus Christ.